I'm not ashamed.
How does Jesus healing the nobleman's son show that he is God? This is the question that we seek to answer today as we continue our verse-by-verse study of the book of John on Walking Through the Bible.
The glory of his cross.
If you have a Bible with you, turn to John chapter 4. We're going to be reading from verses 46 to 54. If you don't have a Bible, don't worry. Just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So, John chapter 4, beginning at verse 46. So Jesus came again to Cana of Galilee, where he had made the water wine. And there was a certain nobleman whose son was sick at Capernaum. When he had heard that Jesus had come out of Judea into Galilee, he went to him and implored him to come down and heal his son, for he was at the point of death. Then Jesus said to him, "Unless you people see signs and wonders, you will by no means believe." The nobleman said to him, "Sir, come down before my child dies." Jesus said to him, "Go your way, your son lives." So the man believed the word that Jesus spoke to him, and he went his way. And as he was now going down, his servants met him and told him, saying, "Your son lives." Then he inquired of them the hour when he got better. And they said to him, "Yesterday at the 7th hour, the fever left him." So the father knew that it was at the same hour to which Jesus said to him, "Your son lives." And he himself believed, and his whole household. This again is the second sign that Jesus did when he had come out of Judea into Galilee. In this chapter, we've seen Jesus leaving Judea because the Pharisees were going to begin harassing Jesus about the number of disciples he was making, just as they did John the Baptist. Jesus' time to get into trouble with the Pharisees near Jerusalem was not yet, so he departed to Galilee, making a short stop in Samaria to teach some people who would listen to his message there. In our internal timeline of the book of John, we note that when Jesus came to Cana, here in verse 46, we're probably 9 months away from the Passover of John 2, and thus 10 to 12 months away from Jesus' miracle in Cana in John 2 of turning water into wine. That means that Jesus' ministry is coming up on its first anniversary, if it hasn't already slightly surpassed 1 year. While at Cana, we find that a nobleman of Capernaum had a son who was sick there. On our map, we see that Cana and Capernaum weren't exactly next-door neighbors, but they weren't far apart from each other either. So when he had heard that Jesus had come into Galilee and was at Cana, he went to Jesus and implored him to come down and heal his son, for he was at the point of death. Jesus laments that the Jews always wanted to see signs and wonders, and unless they saw such, they wouldn't believe. And of course, this was true, for Jesus did signs in Jerusalem, and many of the Jews who saw those signs believed. Jesus performed signs in Judea and Galilee, and many of the Jews who saw those signs believed. Yet it was different, it seems, in Samaria, where we don't read of him doing any signs there, and yet they believed his words without such. I find that interesting, for the Samaritans weren't worshiping God the proper way, but believed the teachings of Jesus, while the Jews were worshiping God the proper way at that time, but didn't believe unless Jesus performed signs. The contrast of these two attitudes will be seen in John 20 with Jesus' discourse to Thomas, where he said that blessed are those who have not seen yet believed. The nobleman here in John 4, though, simply wanted Jesus to come and save his son from death. He didn't seek after a sign in order to produce faith. He had enough faith in order to come to Jesus in the first place. Jesus told the man to go his way, for his son lived. And that's all the man needed. He didn't ask Jesus to come with him just in case his son remained ill. Jesus said the words, and the nobleman believed. In other words, this man was more like the Samaritans and less like the Jews in his attitude towards faith. He trusted in Jesus himself, and so he went on his way home. When he arrived in Cana, which was the next day, the nobleman was approached by his servant, who came out to tell him that his son lives. When asked when the son's condition changed, the servant said that it was the day before, at about the 7th hour, 1 p.m. The nobleman knew that this was the very time that he spoke to Jesus, so Jesus was the one who made his son well. And so not only did this man believe in Jesus, but so did his whole household, because of what Jesus had done. This was the second sign that Jesus did that is recorded specifically in the book of John and referred to in our introduction to the book as one of the 7 major signs that John records Jesus performed while here on this earth. The question is, why did John record it, but the other Gospels not? It goes back to John's thesis that Jesus is the Son of God, God himself. Performing miracles is something that a prophet sent from God had some ability to do. And so Jesus coming and healing the man's son wouldn't necessarily prove that Jesus was God. However, in performing this miracle, Jesus showed himself all at once to have all the attributes that only God has. First of all, Jesus is all-knowing in that he knew who this man's son was, even though the son was not there. Second, Jesus is everywhere in that he healed this man's son from a distance. And for that to happen, Jesus needed to know where exactly the son was. And then, of course, Jesus is all-powerful in that Jesus had the ability to heal this man's son of the disease. We don't know what disease the son had, but Jesus had the complete power over nature and never failed to perform a miracle. The miracle was instantaneous and complete. That is why John included it for us in this book, so that we may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and by believing, we may have life in his name. With that, our time is up for today. The Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of John chapter 5, verses 1 to 15, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time.
I'm not a
Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends, so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.
of his cross.